Summer is fast approaching, and I think it's time we took a little bit of stress out of our lives, isn't it? With HelloFresh UK, you can get all the ingredients and inspiration you need to make your meal times and your cooking experience simpler than ever. HelloFresh provides a number of recipes and meals to make your life as easy as possible and also caters to a wide range of different dietary requirements. Use my special discount to get 50% off your first order plus 35% off the next three and three free gifts as well. What more could you ask for? Check out the discount link or the checkout code down in the description below. Well, here it is. The richest game in football takes place this Saturday afternoon at Wembley Stadium, and I'm going to be there because it's my club Luton Town against Coventry City for a place in the Premier League. It's the EFL Championship playoff final, and one of them, after years of turmoil, will complete a meteoric rise and a fairy tale return to England's top tier. We'll preview that game in a moment, talk about all of the stars for both teams and what we think might happen, as well as giving a concrete score prediction. But before that, let's have a quick recap of what we predicted in a semi-final second leg, as well as looking at the stars from the comment section. So if you remember back to last week, I predicted that Luton would draw 1-1 at home and go out in the semis, and that Coventry, after that valiant 0-0 at home to Middlesbrough, would struggle to a defeat against a rampant Michael Carrick side at the Riverside. Thankfully, I was wrong on both fronts because Coventry were brilliant away at Middlesbrough. They got a 1-0 win and got through on aggregate, deservedly so, I may say, over the legs. And for Luton Town, a powerful performance at Kenilworth Road, a raucous atmosphere and a bombardment of set pieces. A 2-0 win for them to book their place at Wembley. I was very happy to be wrong with both of those predictions, as I'm sure many of the people watching this will be as well. If you are a fan of Luton or Coventry, I'm sure you're very glad that both of those were well off. Let's have a look at the stars of the comment section though, because there's a few of you who deserve a very special mention. Firstly, Chris, who predicted both finalists correctly without perfect scores. 2 points for you as we work up in ascending order. 3 points go to Maisha and Etienne, who correctly predicted the Coventry score, a 1-0 win away at the Riverside. And then 4 points to Haydog and Clive. Haydog got the Luton score spot on, Clive got the Coventry score spot on, and both of you got both finalists correct. So you win the match day with 4 points apiece. But that was all the semi-final action. We are now moving on to Wembley, and I'm sure, just like me, both sets of fans are eagerly anticipating the event, excited, nervous, whatever else you might want. And there's good reason for it too, which we'll talk about in a moment. The showpiece event takes place between two sides that, well, have drawn both times they've met in the league this season, and in fact have drawn 5 of their last 9 games in league competition against each other. Both clubs have been on a very similar journey in recent years, and as I mentioned at the start of this, whoever goes up will be completing a fairy tale return. If we go back and have a look at Coventry City first, as I think is only fair as a Luton fan, another wonderful job done by Mark Robins this season. 2 promotions on his CV at the club. Will he add a third? Well, that's to be decided on Saturday, and I'm hoping not, obviously. But regardless, what a season it's been for that man. Remember back to the start of the season, when Coventry couldn't use their own pitch, when Coventry weren't playing when everyone else was, when they were bottom of the league and really struggling to get up to scratch. Well, look at them now. A wonderful assault on the playoffs late on in the season, and it continues what has been a fabulous rise in recent seasons for this football club. I'm not going to talk about the specific positions over the season yet, because it bears a remarkable parallel to Luton, which we'll talk about later on as well. But given how they started the season, given the fact they were playing catch-up in terms of games as well, it is a wonderful effort for Mark Robins to take Coventry into the playoffs. Against some of the sides on bigger budgets or with parachute payments outside, both clubs can be incredibly proud of, almost beating the odds to get into the top 6. That's not taking away the fact, of course, that Coventry City are a massive football club. They were a Premier League team when I first started watching football. But when you look at recent seasons, well, you can't fail but to be impressed. And I will use this opportunity to put both clubs into comparison, because in 2017-2018, both clubs were in League 2. Of course, Luton had already started their journey, returning from the National League prior to that. In 2017-18, Luton finished second in League 2 and got promotion to League 1. Coventry City won the playoff final that year. They came back up as well. In League 1, Luton went back-to-back by winning the title in 2018-19. For Coventry, it was an 8th place finish and narrowly missing out on the playoffs, but they put that right the following season by winning a league when it was curtailed due to COVID. They were already top at the time. I actually saw their last home game, I think. Home game being at St Andrews. That was against Sunderland, a crucial 1-0 win, and it ended up being a really important one as it wrapped them up promotion to the Championship. During that season, the Championship obviously came back to finish off, something that League One didn't do, and Nathan Jones completed a remarkable resurrection. As if that season hadn't continued, Coventry would have been swapping places with Luton. As it was, the Great Escape was completed, Luton finished 19th, and the following season, their first in the Championship, Coventry finished safely in 16th too. On that occasion, Luton Town finished 12th in mid-table, something Coventry did last season, and the parallels don't stop there. Last season, Luton's third in the Championship, well, they finished in 6th place and got into the playoffs. What have Coventry done in their third season back up? They've made the playoffs too. Luton are doing it for the second time. It's their 4th year back in the Championship. And if it is the perfect mirror image that Coventry are creating, I hope that it will be fulfilled this weekend. By Luton winning the playoffs, Coventry may be getting in there again next year and hopefully completing the job themselves. But for Coventry, we've got to talk about the star men in the team. A few wonderful players in the spine that deserve to be mentioned. We've got Ben Wilson, the goalkeeper, who won the Golden Glove this year. Victor Gyökeres, the much talked about man up front. And Gustavo Hamer, the beating heart of the midfield. 3 players that mean so much to the way Coventry City play. All of them should be in action on Saturday. And you would fear that if Coventry don't win this game, it may be the last for some of them at the club, particularly for Gyökeres, who is wanted by a number of Premier League teams. The way Coventry play, though, should not be underestimated. They're defensively resilient, just 46 goals conceded this year, the best record after the top 3 in the Championship. And of course, while they weren't the freest scoring team in the world, they have got wonderful goal threats in the like of Gyökeres. The last 2 years, they've also become very proficient at scoring late goals, being fitter, being organised, being disciplined, and carrying a threat to the very last whistle. Of course, since returning to play their home games in Coventry, they have had a very strong home record overall. But at Wembley Stadium, that will be tested on a huge pitch. Which side is it going to suit more? I simply don't know the answer. If we compare that to Luton Town, of course, who finished 3rd this season, following their 6th place finish the year before, it's been a case of a remarkable job done by, well, the man who started the season as Watford manager. On this occasion, Nathan Jones left just before the Winter World Cup to go off to Southampton in the Premier League. Didn't quite work out for him, that move. But taking over the mantle and taking Luton to the next level was the man sacked by Watford after 10 games. Rob Edwards came in, and of course Luton have never looked back. As well as keeping that resilient defensive shape, they've become a lot more aggressive going forward and have created significantly more chances throughout. The addition of Marvellous Nakamba in January, combined with an aggressive front 2 and a settled back 3, has led to a very strong performance across the board. We mentioned defensive records. Well, Luton have only conceded 39 this season, but they've only scored 57 as well. So you could argue that this is going to be a battle of defences, and which one copes with the big Wembley pitch better. Which defence is going to deal with their attacking threats more? We've got Victor Gyökeres coming up against Carlton Morris and Elijah Adebayo. And I'll be honest with you, as much as I want to exude confidence as a Luton fan, I believe this game's a flip of a coin. We mentioned the amount of draws these sides have had over the years. I mean, if you take out that bizarre 5-0 game at the start of last season, it has been draws or 1-goal wins for either side. It is a very difficult one to call. Of course, at this point of the episode, regulars among you would know that I'll normally start going through all of the stats, the disciplinary stuff, all of the areas where either team could exploit the other. But this is at Wembley Stadium. This is a huge occasion for both, and neither side have been near the Premier League for a long time. Luton obviously fell out a year before the top division became the Premier League. Coventry have been out for a number of years too, and after both clubs falling so low, isn't it great for both sets of fans? They've got a club to be proud of. So it is hard to predict things based on what you expect to see and the stats, because Wembley Stadium and playoff finals very rarely work out like that. And the playoffs in general this year have been absolutely bonkers. Just ask Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough fans. For us, if we look at the way these sides have come into it, of course Luton lost the first leg of the playoffs, but that is their only defeat in 16. Coventry are on an enormous unbeaten run. They've only let in 1 goal in their last 4 games, but Luton have kept 2 clean sheets as well. This is a battle of defences, and I don't know which one's going to come out on top. I'd love to tell you as a Luton fan that I'm going to be celebrating on Saturday evening, And of course, I genuinely hope I am, but I really wouldn't begrudge on paper either of these sides going up. Coventry City story's great. A number of their fans have been great to us over the years down in the comments as well. And both sides have been on a remarkable rise and deserve Premier League football as an end reward for it. Which one will get it this year? Well, I hate to tell you, I don't think there's a wrong prediction in this game, by the way. I don't blame you if you pick either side down in the comments. I've just got a feeling that having that little bit of extra individual magic might be the deciding factor on the day. Luton have got a wonderful team spirit. Luton have got 11 players that play as a team. They are greater than the sum of their parts. But Coventry City have got individual magic in addition. And someone like Victor Gyökeres could just turn up with that moment at Wembley Stadium. I do think it's going to be a cagey game. These finals often are. And again, I hope I'm wrong. And I'll be honest, there's part superstition in this because when I've predicted Luton to lose games, they've won them. And when I've predicted them to win them, they've lost them. So Coventry fans, I'm sorry. I'm predicting your side to win because I want my superstition to come off. Coventry City are going to win the Wembley final by 1-0. But if I'm being honest and I'm being serious, I just think it's that bit of individual magic that might make the difference. And having that player who can produce a solo moment, well, maybe it will be the difference. Luton will be a massive threat from set pieces. Pelly Panzu is looking to make some English football history by playing from every league from the National League to the Premier League with the same club. I mean, there are so many good stories within this tie, no matter who wins it. And I love Luton too, and I hope they do. But my honest prediction is that Coventry nick it by a goal, and I have to be fair with that. I will apologise to regulars at this point as well before we have our recap, because I'm usually pretty analytical. I like to go into a bit of detail for these games. I'm all over the place this week. I'm a bag of nerves. Back to normal service tomorrow when we predict the League One playoff final and a day after for League Two. But for now, I just want the day to come around and I want to get it over with either way. Hopefully I'll be celebrating at the end of it. But good luck to both sides, and genuinely, what a story it is to have these two sides in a Championship playoff final and one of them guaranteed Premier League football next season. Let's have a quick recap though of what I have predicted for Saturday. And I've gone for a Coventry 1-0 win. I'm relying on their individual magic to get the result, but secretly I'm going for superstition and hoping that I'm wrong again. That's just my prediction though, and my preview of the game. Probably one of the most incoherent videos I will ever make, mainly because I'm absolutely a bag of nerves for it. I need you guys to help me out though. Get your predictions down in the comments for this Saturday's game. Let me know if you're going. Let me know who you want to win. And fingers crossed, whatever happens, it will be a good game. I'm hoping it won't be a tense one as a Luton fan, but given the previous meetings between these sides, I can see nothing but, in all honesty. Thank you for watching as always. Thank you for your constant support and comments throughout the season. It really does make a big difference to us. As I mentioned, over the next couple of days, we'll have the League One and League Two playoff final previews as well. Hopefully, I'll make a bit more sense in those ones. If you did enjoy this episode and seeing me as a bag of nerves, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe for regular content from the podcast because there's an awful lot to look forward to this summer. But thank you very much for watching and for joining me for the last Championship score predictions of the season. We'll be back to review all of our pre-season predictions next week. But in the meantime, I've got to get ready for Wembley.